June 19, 1865. This is the day that Black Americans in Galveston, Texas, just south of me, got word that they were free. And this was 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation. This has now become a celebrated holiday. For those that take this seriously, you would expect that days like this are feel-good moments for this particular population. You would think that there'll be picnics, there'll be nice outdoor events, there'll be some civilized behavior, but this has not been the case. And I'm going to show you what the Blacks have been up to this weekend. This has been a horrible, horrible weekend. We start with Houston, Texas, not too far from Galveston. Watch what happened.
Armed robbery suspects' escape plan fell apart after their car was trapped and dragged beneath a semi-truck. It happened around 9:30 this morning on I-10 near Market. One suspect managed to dart across 10 lanes of traffic. Katira Winfrey was the first reporter on the scene. Explains what we know right now. Katira.
The road opened up just a few hours ago, but we've recently learned that the passenger who ran across the highway is now in jail, charged with aggravated robbery. As for the driver, he's in critical condition at Bentop Hospital. This is what's left of the car carrying a pair of pawn shop robbery suspects after it was trapped and dragged under a semi near I-10 and Market around 9:30 Thursday morning.
They tried to kind of take an evasive action here, ran into an 18-wheeler, which sent them out of control. They went down this embankment back here and hit another 18-wheeler. The car was pinned under that one.
Pasadena police say minutes before, they used guns to rob this pawn shop, getting away with jewelry. Witnesses told KHOU 11 the pair parked beside the shop, went inside, then ran back to their car and took off. One of the semi-trucks hit during the chase belonged to Alex Flores.
This is something I don't understand. You know, somebody works so hard to start a small business. Some of these pawn shops are mom and pops. They are in the community. The person that owns this business uses it to take care of their children. And you, instead of going to work, you decide that you're going to take a gun on such a quote-unquote special holiday to rob people at gunpoint. Some of these end up fatally, right? And in this case, I don't know where you stand on this, but I think this was karma that they ended up like this. But this is what the Blacks have been up to when they are supposed to be celebrating something nice. And this happened right there in Houston, not too far from Galveston, okay? Martin Luther King will be rolling in his grave if this is the outcome of what he fought so hard for.
Breaking news, police say one man was shot at the intersection of East Washington Street and South Pennsylvania Street. This was just after midnight. Now, investigators tell us the man was taken to the hospital in critical condition. Of course, we'll update you as we get more information on air and online at wishtv.com. And on the west side, police say a woman has been taken to the hospital after a shooting at West 12th Street and King Avenue. That's in the neighborhood near the intersection of West 16th and North White River Parkway West Drive. Police say the victim is in serious but stable condition. Police say they have detained one person and there is no ongoing threat to the community. Of course, we'll update this story as well on it.
This happened in Indianapolis, downtown. And then right there in Indianapolis, there was another shooting. See, these guys have just gone on a rampage at a time when they are supposed to be celebrating. I don't even think they are aware of it. It's like the level of violence, it's insane. It's not normal. Nobody even wants to talk about it. These guys are so sensitive if you bring up the obvious, if you say things like the usual suspects, because it's always them. It's always foundational Black Americans that commit these heinous crimes all across the nation. This is not one city. This is all of the United States, every zip code where they are congregated. These are the outcomes. And this is sad. I don't even want to call it sad. This is pathetic. I think that's the best way to describe this. This is pathetic. It's gone out of control. And you think this is bad? Let's see what else they got for us.
Philadelphia police are investigating a fatal quadruple shooting overnight in Fairhill. Ellen is at the scene this morning. And Ellen, what have you learned about this shooting?
Well, good morning, Greg. Good morning, everyone. The last police officer just pulled away from the scene, but cleaners just came up to start clearing away the debris. Now, we're still trying to get more information from police, but this is what we can confirm at this point. 2 people, as you said, are dead and 2 others injured after the shooting here in the Fair Hill section of Philadelphia. A police inspector tells us that 4 people were shot in all at about 3 o'clock this morning at 5th and Willard. Again, 2 of the victims are dead. 2 others were shot and remain in stable condition. Now, we don't know exactly the circumstances that led up to this shooting, but we can tell you that it all happened around a bar called the Dementi Lounge. So something may have happened inside there and then spilled out onto the street. We did see evidence markings and shell casings right outside the bar, and then again about 30 feet down the street. So clearly something happened either inside or outside just after that bar closed.
So I don't think it's the bar, it's gang activity as usual, right? But here's the thing. I think white America, or I would say the US government, has already paid these blacks their reparations, okay? Think about this. The amount of money that is spent in law enforcement, the amount of money that is spent housing a prison population that is overwhelmingly black American, the amount of money that is spent on treating these wounds when these shootings happen all across the nation. I mean, have you been to a surgical center? I just had an endoscopy and the bill is like $8,000 before insurance. Of course, I have insurance, so I paid less, but this is what it costs the hospital just to do an endoscopy. So can you imagine how much money is spent for these people that are almost mostly uninsured, using taxpayers' money to treat them after these shootings, okay? The amount of money that is spent for public defenders in the courts because they don't have money to retain attorneys. If you think about all the amount of money we spend as taxpayers on these blacks, America has already paid them their reparations. I think these people have given us enough post-traumatic stress by constantly taking over news coverages and making life hell for the rest of the people that want to live peacefully in this country. And when things don't go their way, they turn around and protest and boycott. I've seen, I saw this Pan-African dude going all over the damn place like an idiot, boycotting Asians as if this is like a noble cause. This is the kind of way they think, right? These people think violence first, destruction next. This is why even the folks that you think are normal can sit up with a straight face and say, whoa, we are boycotting Asian businesses. Let me say it right. Businesses. We are boycotting Asian businesses. You have a bunch of fools following and subscribing to this ideology as if this kind of thinking builds society. This is idiocy at the highest level. Even the folks that you consider intelligent, that have voices on the internet, are worse. I mean, they're not any better than the criminals. See, this is a culture that is depressing. Okay, it's absolutely depressing, for the most part, disgusting. And I don't even know why anybody would be proud to be part of this. I don't understand it. But you think that's it? Let's go to the murder capital and see what they've been up to.
Just a lot of and you just knew.
At least 12 people were injured in an overnight shooting on the far south side. Tonight, police are looking for the people responsible. Emmy Victor has tonight's top story.
Do you guys recall I did a video where a black American dude in Africa was telling us that the quality of life is better in other places? You see what happens in your community is just quality of life. See, people only think about quality of life when it comes to economics, but they don't add safety to it. Their communities are not safe. These are not some elite racial group that should be going around the world telling other people how to live. Okay, there is really nothing special about them. This is why I make these videos and I open this up for debate. And that is also because it is factually true. Nothing I say here is out of order. I have proven it. I have showed it to you. If I want to go on a list of all the events that happened this weekend. It's crazy. I can't even get through all of them. I just picked out some of the heinous ones that have happened that has national coverage, especially Chicago's South Side. Let's continue.
We know that a 26-year-old was taken to the University of Chicago Medical Center in critical condition. Authorities say the remaining victims, including a 17-year-old, are expected to be okay. Witnesses we spoke with called the shooting senseless and are calling for change on the far South Side. Crime scene tape clinging to a fence and shattered glass at a CTA bus stop are the remnants of a shooting that left 12 people injured on the far South Side.
It's sad though. You know, try to enjoy yourself if you can't.
Delwyn Mellon says he was on his front porch Friday night when he heard several gunshots. He immediately went inside to alert his family.
I was a little scared, but you know, by you hear the shots, you just run and duck and hide. So that's all I did.
The shooting happened around 11 p.m. near 95th and Wentworth in the Roseland neighborhood. Police say 2 people inside an SUV opened fire on a large crowd that had gathered in the area. Dozens of evidence markers were placed on the ground as authorities investigated. While police are still working to determine what led up to this shooting, witnesses believe the crowd had gathered to celebrate Juneteenth.
I've been hearing fireworks, seeing fireworks, but that was totally different. You knew that that was not fireworks when you could hear it, you know. So, yeah, it's a shame that it has to happen during the holidays.
The 12 victims were taken to local hospitals for treatment. Police say they range in age from 17 years old to 47 years old.
Yeah, they're always going to come out and condemn and just, I think even by tomorrow, there's already another shooting. This is Chicago. This is what they do. But the mayor came out and he, you know, as usual, this is one of the worst leaders in all of America. That's another part of their problem. They have horrible leadership. They have people that focus on how much money they can make from their community as opposed to helping themselves. Because like I said, like the idiots that are boycotting Asians, when they take this leadership stance, they approach it with a mentality of violence and destruction. They don't understand the word dialogue. They don't understand that you can have a disagreement with a different group and sit down and resolve it and see ways to improve and make it better. This is just not how these people are programmed. You know, it's violence first, it's anger first. This is why we end up with kids like Carmelo Anthony. It doesn't just happen, right? This is all cultural. This is all baked in.
We caught up with Mayor Brandon Johnson at a Juneteenth Day of Action event earlier today.
Last night was another reminder of how much work we still have to do to the lives who have been impacted by gun violence.
The shooting victims are between 17 and 47 years old.
That's all they're going to say. It's all scripted. They're going to say, we have to do, but they never do, right? This community always say, we have to do, but they never do. But where is the protest? Okay. Notice if it's something useless, they are able to protest. They are able to come together because the combining element here is anger and hatred towards other groups. So they can come together to make some protests like the Carmelo Anthony, a criminal child who killed and took the life of a young boy that had the whole life ahead of him. And you still got mature black men and women go to courthouses, harass white people, call us racist in Collin County, which we're not, and try to make a big deal out of this, even though now that the video is out, everybody knows that the child was a criminal and should have gotten a life sentence, okay? In my book, I think the death penalty would have sufficed, but he was a minor, 17 when this happened. So these things that happen, the children that behave like this is because they are taught to hate. They are taught violence. This is why they don't even see anything wrong with these kinds of behaviors, and this is why it's not going away. When they protest stuff, it's always connected to some criminal activity, like George Floyd, using a fake bill, high on fentanyl, right? You don't find these things happen to regular people. Now, they tried it with the Carmelo stuff. It doesn't make sense. And of course, the jury spoke, right? So that went out of the way. And they found a new one because obviously this doesn't sound good. A 1-year-old has been killed, but nobody is talking about the decisions that the mother took. This is the problem with these folks. They are never clean. They're never clean. Even when they have a case and you dig deeper, there's always something negative connected to it. And they want you to believe that this is a just cause. It does really suck that a 1-year-old's life has been lost. But the real person here, the person that caused this problem, is the mother of that toddler. Okay, let's play the news.
Today, a child is dead, and the state investigation is underway after an officer fired shots during an incident in North Mississippi. It all happened Sunday morning at a Walmart in Santobia. ABC 24's Ezekiel Telemaco joining us now live from the scene where this all happened. He's been following this all morning long with the very latest. Ezekiel?
Ruben, I've talked to a few people in regard to this, and it's just a tragic story is what they tell me. But again, according to the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation, they say that a shooting took place at this Walmart on I-51 on Sunday. Again, there's still limited details, but in terms of what we know so far, I'm going to just share some of the preliminary details that the NBI shared with us. So according to the NBI, officers with the Senatobia Police Department and the Tate County Sheriff's Office responded to a shoplifting call at the Walmart that I just mentioned on US 51. Again, when officers arrived, they encountered two subjects, and a child who were fleeing the store and more specifically getting inside of a vehicle. Now, the NBI says that officers attempted to stop the vehicle, but the driver allegedly drove towards the officers and nearly hit one of them. Now,
I believe the police. I believe them. I know that, like I said, these things don't happen to black immigrants. It's always them. So I believe the police. Okay. Police are just not, they're trained. Now, sometimes some of them will make mistakes, but police is not just going to get out there and just shoot a 1-year-old. That 1-year-old was not in his car seat. He was in the front seat because they were trying to get away. Why are you bringing a 1-year-old to a robbery? You see, the brain of these folks, right? Why are you doing that? Why are you stealing diapers? Where is the father to buy the diaper? Why are you having children if you can't provide? These are all the questions they need to ask. And they want you to go out there and protest because the police may be white. So then they can use this to start something. And as you can see, they're out here protesting. Let me show it to you.
Breaking news tonight, the officer who shot 1-year-old Cohen Wiley outside Walmart in Senatobia now placed on leave. The little boy was killed when police opened fire on his family's car in the parking lot of Walmart Sunday while responding to a shoplifting call.
Investigators say the car was driving in their direction and nearly hit one of the officers, leading to the deadly use of force. Action News 5's Joyce Peterson is here in the studio with the latest on the investigation. And Joyce, the head of the Mississippi Department of Public Safety is urging people in Senatobia tonight to be patient as this agency investigates.
Yeah, from a protest outside Senatobia City Hall this evening to another demonstration at the Walmart where officers then used tear gas to break up the crowd. Emotions are running high, and not just in Senatobia.
They're out there protesting, right? They only have the energy when something like this happens. How about you build a platform to provide these diapers to these moms so they don't go out there and steal all that energy, the calories you've burnt protesting? How about you raise some money and build your own donation centers so that your poor population can come in there and take some supplies without having to go steal with a 1-year-old?